All right, welcome back. Let's examine some barriers to third-party success. All right, so why do we have a two-party system? It's not in the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it mention parties. In fact, if we think back to Federalist Number 10 and James Madison and his warnings against factions, we think about George Washington and his farewell address, it was clear that the founders didn't really think that parties would be a good thing, and yet that's exactly what we have. It is a result of both tradition and our election policies, not because of the Constitution directly. So we're going to, in this video, examine how those traditions and election policies have led to the rise of a two-party system, and in turn have formed barriers to prevent third-party success. All right, so we're going to talk about structural barriers and informal barriers. So these are structural barriers. These are ones that are official. These are ones that are by law in state to state. Some of them are federally laws as well. So the way we're going to look at this is that we have the three things on the left-hand side. We have a plurality system, we have winner-take-all voting districts, and we have single-member districts. The things that we have serve as barriers to third-party success. We do not have majority system, proportional representation, or multi-member districts. Each of those would probably help third parties to succeed, but we don't have them. So we're going to learn what each of them are, both what we have and what we don't have, to get a complete picture, hopefully. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is the fact that we have a plurality system. Again, the one on top is what we have, the one on the bottom is what we don't have. So we have a plurality system. That means that the candidate with the most votes wins the election. So most of our elections at the federal level are plurality elections. You win by having the most votes, even if that number is less than 50%. On the other hand, a majority system, which most states do not have a majority system, the candidate can win only by receiving more than 50% of the vote. So they must have a majority of the vote. In this case, this would require a runoff election or a second election. And then when you have only two candidates, one of them will get a majority. The reason this is a barrier to third-party success is that there is essentially no reward for running a really good third-party campaign unless you actually win the office. And since that is going to be unlikely and difficult, there's no real incentive to coming in a really strong third place or maybe even a surprise upset and winning second place, because there's no benefit for that. So the plurality system that we have in most states serves as a barrier to third parties. We also have winner-take-all voting districts. The idea here is that the candidate with the most votes in that district wins the congressional seat. That's it. So you win a plurality of the votes, you get to go take that seat in Congress. On the other hand, another way to do it would be to have proportional representation. This would be where instead of voting for a person to be the congressman or woman from that district, you would simply vote for a party. So you would cast a vote for the Democrats or the Republicans or some other party, and then you'd add up the whole vote or the votes for the whole country, and then the seats in Congress would be apportioned according to the percent of votes that each party won. So think about it this way. Let's say that a third party, let's say the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, let's say both, they each run candidates and they win 5% of the vote in every district in the United States. The way we have it with winner-take-all, they would not win any seats in Congress because 5% is not going to be enough. So they're going to win 0 seats, despite having won 5% of the vote. If we did proportional representation, however, and people voted the exact same way, they would each now have 5% of the seats in Congress, which would give them a tremendous amount of power because we have a lot of votes that are very close in Congress, and they could build off of that small success, and it would incentivize people to vote for third-party candidates because they would see some benefit from their vote. And finally, we have single-member districts, not multi-member districts. So we only vote for one representative to serve to represent each district. If we had multi-member districts and chose several representatives from each district, clearly that would give third parties an additional chance to succeed, and that would be helpful to them as well. All right, we also have two other ones. We have ballot requirements, so this refers to fees, petition signatures that are required to appear to get your name on the ballot. You have to pay money and you have to get a number of signatures. For the major parties, Democrats and Republicans, that's very, very easy. For minor parties, that could be more of a challenge. And another major one is the Electoral College. Because you must win a plurality of votes in a state, meaning the most votes in the state to get any electoral votes, again, running a really strong third-party campaign and winning, let's say, 20 or 25% of the vote in a state will get you nothing. And so, again, that will discourage and serve as a barrier to third-party success. We also have some informal barriers. So these are not legal. These are more about the actions and beliefs of people. So this could always change if people just change their attitude. The one that's bolded is the one that the AP exam I think will focus on the most. Major parties often incorporate the popular portions of third-party agenda into their own platforms. So Democrats often borrow things from the Green Party or from more liberal parties where they take things like Medicaid or Medicare for all, I should say Medicare for all, universal health care, environmental programs. And so what happens is somebody who was supporting the Green Party, now they've taken the popular things from that party and they've adopted it to their platform, which is going to cause some people who otherwise might have supported the Green Party to go ahead and support one of the two major parties, in this case, the Democratic Party. Another problem that third parties face is that people feel like they're wasting or throwing their vote away because they know that the Libertarian or the Green Party or Constitution Party candidate, they're not going to win. So it feels like a waste of their vote. So people end up voting for the lesser of two evils, even though they don't like the Democrat or Republican options. They also raise a lot less money. They receive less media coverage from the news, and they are able to run fewer advertisements because they have raised less money. All right, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button for me. Till next time, this has been a LaMoney production.